Lauren, can you hear me? No. Can anybody hear me? Okay. Lauren's just ignoring me then. Lauren! Is it Lana? Okay. You can hear me. Who else? Tiffany, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Who's me? Oh, there's Kim. Okay.
I can hear you too.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So Lauren is ignoring me.
She probably did like I do. She probably turned it on and then stepped away.
No, I saw her face.
Oh, can you see her? I tried, Lauren.
Now I don't even know where she is. She probably did.
My
There you are.
my audio was my audio was muted, so I couldn't hear you. So I had myself muted, and so I was just patiently waiting for you to start talking. And then I saw your mouth moving, and I was confused.
Move your head. You got your space ready. A little bit. Oh, wow. Look at that. You've been busy. Oh, Tay.
Coffee delivery.
I drank mine already.
This is number 2.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's mostly like, see, I have one rack for like overstock stuff.
Yeah.
There's my alarm that tells me I'm supposed to be on a team training.
Good. You're not late.
Last time I missed it. Okay, there's my rack for overstock stuff, and then I have 3 double racks, and then I just got this single that I use when I'm live selling. It rolls a lot nicer, and I don't need a double when I'm doing a live sale. So
hanging everything. We should probably talk about
that. Yes,
we'll
I do. I sell first out of the box, then I push orders to the party site, then I might even sell again live a few days later, like out of the package, and then I will hang the leftovers so that I can do something like outfits or tunics or something like that.
Cool. I didn't even think of that. We'll talk about that then today.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, thanks, Megan. She's in the chat saying, I can hear you. Okay, you guys, if this is your first time hopping on, by the way, 24 out of how many RSVPs are showing up on a Saturday morning to learn how to be successful in our business. So good for you guys. If you guys this is your first time, can you guys all see the chat? There's a chat. You can put your questions there if you have any, and we'll try to answer them throughout, or if we don't, we'll catch them at the end. Oh, there's Heather. Hey, girl. Kelsey, I know, is going to be on. She double booked herself, so she'll be on a phone in a car. So we'll see when she pops on. But, okay. So we got the chat. You guys are all ready to go. Ready to rock. So if you're new, hey, I'm Jill. Lauren's my mama. And then Heather's my sister. Where are you, Heather, now? You keep moving around.
I don't know. I see her.
Oh, there you are.
Hiya.
And then Kelsey, she's my sister. We love to just push each other in this business, and we kind of feed off of each other and give each other ideas. I encourage you guys, if you guys don't have somebody, and it's nice to have somebody not in your lineage. I know that Lauren is, but she's kind of just forced into our little group. But find somebody who's not in your lineage, and by lineage, I mean like upline, because it's really nice to have somebody who doesn't have any pain, I guess, just to have like a fresh opinion, and even when you're on different teams, everybody's team kind of coaches differently. So to have different opinions about how to run your business and everything is just good to get a lot of, and then just you can find your own way through it and find what works for you. So that's why I like to do these, because together we spitball, and that's where ideas happen, right? So Okay, find your people. Find somebody that you can just spitball with and game plan with. Anyways, so that's who my people are. 2 of them, Heather and Lauren and Kelsey, wherever she is. All right, let me get these people muted again. I hear some background noise. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is the last time we did this, it went a little bit long because we had so many girls on. So we only have like 3 or 4 of us now today. And so we weren't able to talk too much about sales last time and like our styles and kind of tips that we have. So we're going to do that again. And then we're also going to talk about like inventory, how we make our inventory decisions, how we make our restocking decisions. And even we'll probably talk about pre-order since that's happening too, how we decide what kind of to plan for as far as like pre-order, having money tied up in that. So I guess I will get started. Now oh, there you are, Heather. Okay. You keep popping around, moving on me. So we'll talk about sales styles. I know, so I sell mainly live. I do a lot of pushing to the party site too. Kelsey's going to hop on. She is strictly party site. She will not go live. Lauren, I mean, she does everything. And then Heather, would you guys want to maybe just talk about your sales styles really quick, like where you sell since you're actually on?
So I kind of do it all. I do live, I do party site, and occasionally I'll put up albums. So, the only thing that I don't really do is in-person stuff, almost never. So, yeah.
And why is that?
Because it's a gigantic pain in my behind. That's why.
Okay. Did you do it for a short time though to figure out that it wasn't for you? You didn't even. Okay.
No. So, I mean, I have 4 kids, right? My kids, 3 of them are homeschooled still. One of them just finally got into a school. I have another job. I do a high enough volume that I just have never had the need to do in-person stuff. But the kind of negative thing about that is that I don't really have much of a local market. So I don't have, like, I have a couple of people that are local, but that's kind of just a coincidence, you know? I live in a big area, like a big city. And so it's just kind of a coincidence that I have a couple of people that happen to be local. But I also don't have a dedicated space that's like fit for people to come over and try stuff on. I don't know. It's just never really been like a focus for me. It's never been important to me to have that.
So before we go, like keep going on this topic, you said that you don't have space or you don't have a space. So, but you do a high volume and you have a lot of inventory. Mm-hmm. So for those that are probably on or may watch this back and say, I don't have a lot of space either, what is one way that you're able to store it, or how do you manage all that?
So when I first started, I was strictly in plastic tubs, like just like the Sterilite containers. And I just had them in my living room, like literally in my living room. Once I outgrew about 10 like plastic tubs, my husband mostly was like, we got to get this out of here. It's taking over the house. So we installed some IKEA cabinets and used the little cardboard like holder thingies. I'm trying to see if I have one right here. We use the cardboard containers and I just put them in here, these.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so, and I had those in there. Okay, now I'm trying to shift everything out to my garage and like get a space set up out here. So I'm back for the most part, right at the moment, I'm back to plastic tubs and I have a ton, and it's honestly, I can't wait to get back to having the cardboard holder thingies, because it's like shipping is maybe 100 times faster when I have those, because I can just see it, I can pull.
Filing system, yeah.
Exactly. And so having the bins again is really has affected me for sure. Just because I know how much faster it is for me to do stuff when I have it like sorted, like a filing system, like you said.
Yeah.
So, but it's still doable, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, you had mentioned it too, and mine was the same. As your business grows, it kind of, your space grows and keeps it ever evolving as you continue in this business. So if you guys are like feeling like a chicken with your head cut off, it will evolve. It just does. Okay, Lauren, we'll go back to, give us a little bit of your like sales styles, like what you kind of hit.
So I started out all online and albums because there was no party site. Back in the day, we didn't have a party site, fancy party site. So I did a weekly album sale. I ran it from Thursday night through Sunday night. On Sunday, all day Saturday, I had taken pictures of outfits. So on Sunday throughout the day, I posted outfits right to the wall because some people have a hard time finding albums. So it sort of captured that person that was paying attention to my group but couldn't figure out what was going on. And then the rest of the week I would sell live, mostly on Periscope. Now we've just moved, and one of the reasons why we moved is because I wanted to expand into in-person and in-home sales because I wasn't able to in my other home. So I'm just starting to do that. So I'm starting to set up a monthly open house where people come to me because I have that whole room back there with clothes. So we've done one of those, and I imagine as I continue it, it'll grow and expand and more people will learn about it and it'll become like a thing. I'd love to start setting up so I have hostesses come and bring their friends in, but we just haven't gotten around to that yet. So I will throw up an album sale from time to time. It's not consistent like I used to do them. So I'm mostly selling live, and then when I'm not live, I'm pushing orders to the party site.
Okay. Sorry, I was catching up in the group chat while you were talking. Okay, so ladies with, you know what? I think we should, one of our next topics, we should probably talk about how we manage it all with kids. Because, I mean, that seems like a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people. And that's a topic.
Yeah, and we've all done it. Like, when I started, my husband was working in the restaurant business. And when I say he was working in the restaurant business, I literally didn't see him, ever. When he was home, he was sleeping. And when he was awake, he was working. So I have 5 kids. One of them's autistic. I've got teenage kids, so they're, mouthy. I was working 4 overnights in a row at a hotel, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., and there was nobody there to hang out with my kids during the day so I could sleep. So I wasn't sleeping. I was working all the time. My husband wasn't around. So it can be done. It can be managed. It's all about, like, working on income-producing activities. So I think that's, like, probably a whole nother Zoom.
Yeah, we'll do that. I think I'll probably write that down so we can, like, I think you and Kelly should definitely do that one for sure, because Kelly is the same, 4 kids, full-time job, and she's okay. So let's talk about then, like, sales. So I kind of have jotted down notes. How do you, so you're preparing for the week, what are ways that you not only just prepare yourself for your sale and, like, figure out what you're selling, but how do you alert and kind of get your customers prepared for what you're selling and tell them when you're selling? Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay. So I think it's super important to be consistent so that your group comes to know and expect when they can see you. My weekly schedule is Friday night I sell live, and it's called Friday Night Facebook Live. Sunday night I sell live, and it's called Sip and Shop Sunday. And then typically I go on Tuesdays for Tunic Tuesdays. That's usually the only 3 times I'm live throughout the week. The rest of the time I'm pushing orders to the party site. So before I go live, I'm setting up an event in my group, and I'm also setting up, and we've posted this in Rockstars how to do it. I've also gone onto my business page, and I have set up a notification so that my business page followers are notified that I'm going to be live at that particular time. I typically don't give them, like, a sneak peek of what I'm selling, but I'll tell them what I'm selling. Like, I'll say, like, we're doing, obviously, Tunic Tuesday. We're doing tunics. On Friday, I'll say we're doing my new inventory. On Sunday, I'll say I'm doing fall outfits or I'm doing fall layering pieces. So I'm not giving them pictures or images of what's coming, almost never, but I am giving them an idea of what to expect.
Yeah.
And depending on how much money I need to make that night and what I'm selling, I'm going to do a check-in post ahead of time. A check-in post is an engagement post, typically with some kind of giveaway attached to it, so they're compelled to comment. And the reason why you do a check-in post is because this is how Facebook works. If Susie and Sally and Jenny all like and comment on something, Facebook is like, ooh, people are going to want to see what she's doing. And so then it shows it to more people. And then 10 more people comment, and Facebook's like, ooh, people are really liking this. So they show it to 10 more people and 20 more people. So it can really explode. And once all those people have commented on something, now they're going to get the notification that I'm live, and they're that much more likely to actually click and pay attention to what's going on. So typically I save check-in posts for when I'm selling something that's not new, because new inventory kind of, has its own appeal. So I don't necessarily have to encourage people to join a live sale when I'm selling brand new launch inventory. But if I'm selling something that's been around for a while, or outfits or something like that, that's when I'm going to pull out that check-in post.
Yeah.
I did a check-in post last night because I was doing holiday. Normally I wouldn't do a check-in post for something like holiday, but instead of selling it live, I chose to sell it on the party site, and that's not a way I typically have my people claim inventory. So I wanted to make sure that I had as many eyes on my group as possible.
So those are all things that I do too, and for exactly those reasons. One of the other things that I've done is, so when you say that you create events, I create events too. Every single sale that I have, I will create an event in my group. And I specifically, so to give you guys kind of a timeline on when to schedule your events, I don't schedule them too far in advance, because I want people, just like why I don't do sneak peeks, I want people to be excited about what I have right at the moment. So after my sale is done, like I'm just wrapping up my holiday, once my holiday invoices are paid, I'm going to start blasting and create an event for my Tuesday. And once my Tuesday is done, I'm going to create immediately Wednesday morning my Thursday event. I don't create I don't do two in advance, because I don't want them worrying about Thursday on my Tuesday sale.
Yep.
So, and that definitely makes a difference. So that's why we don't do sneak peeks, and that's why you don't get too far ahead of yourself in your head. Like I planned like my whole week when I'm selling what, but my customers don't know it. So, and 2 days is plenty of time to get people, or to make people aware of what you're doing and what you're selling. Especially if you have consistency already. My group knows I'll be live on Tuesdays. And now that it's the holidays, I'm live again on Thursdays. So they know to expect me. So the event isn't really like a make or break, but it's just an added thing. And one other thing that I do too is I do a name change. I don't change my name very often, like on my group, because I don't want to send out a million notifications, but it definitely does boost sales and awareness on, like for example, my holiday collection, or if I have like new inventory, I'll put out, I'll just do my name change right before the sale so that they get that notification, and then they hop in right as I'm selling just to check it out, because they get that notification. And then on the weekends, if I'm like not hitting my numbers that I want to for that week, I'll throw a Hail Mary, I call it a Hail Mary name change, just to like, hey, I'm here, I have stuff. And I do get a few orders doing that too. But I don't take advantage of the name changing thing. Max of 2 times a week you'll ever see me change my name. So
I do that same thing. And then one thing I do that I forgot to mention was I do utilize MailChimp, which is free if you're sending to under 2,000 people at one time. And I will send out a newsletter to people that will have a couple sneak peeks, 2 or 3 pictures in it, like the most sought after, item. Like next week's will have the velvet swing on it, something like that. And I will tell them when it's available, and I'll make sure every picture and all the verbiage is all linked back to the party site. So when they open that, anything they click on is going to take them directly to the party site where they can claim that. And that I typically get some stuff from there too.
Yeah. I just started recently doing that, and I did that for the holiday collection, and that does help. I probably won't do many of those. It'll probably just be like a special occasion type newsletter, but they're like your shipping services, some shipping services like mine, that's included in it. I don't have to do MailChimp, but yes, MailChimp is another one that I've used too, and that's a really great one. So newsletters are a really great way to, especially like for the holiday ones or like ones that you really want to amp up sales, doing the emails does really help too. Okay, Heather, how do you prepare for a sale? Anything extra to add?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of the same things. I do try to plan my schedule out really well. But because I have a lot of variables, my husband works, he's gone about 13 hours a day, and his shifts rotate throughout the week. So, and he doesn't always have the same schedule. So it's hard for me to plan, to have like a certain night when I'm live, especially because I'm on the West Coast. So, if I'm live after my kids go to bed, it's not until 8:30 Pacific, which means that it's 11:30 Eastern. So, and I have found that does make a difference. So sometimes I'll like bribe my kids and I'll like put them in front of a movie, and I'm like, hey, you need to give mommy, 1 hour in front of my friends so that I can, do this. But, it doesn't always work. And sometimes they're like, no. And so I have to cancel stuff. I mean, consistency, if you can be consistent, it makes such a huge difference. I try to release new inventory like on the same day every week. I especially did that in the beginning. In the beginning, I had an album sale every single Friday, and every single Friday I had new inventory. And for, probably the first 6 months. And, everybody, I would build up to it throughout the week. I'm like, oh, guess what tomorrow is? Like, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is the day we shop. And, and people started getting really used to that. So that really, really helped in the beginning. So what I do if I'm having, like, for example, when I released my holiday stuff, I did mine on Wednesday. And so what I did was the day before, I actually made a collage and I changed my cover photo. And that got a lot more traction than I thought it was going to. I started having people, commenting a lot on that photo. I created an event. Something else that I do for lives, especially because I didn't go live for a long time. And I used to in the beginning, and then it kind of, waned. And then now I'm starting to do it more. So especially for lives, I'm like trying to get warm bodies in the room, And so what I've been doing is I've been creating an event. Everyone that RSVPs to the event gets entered into a drawing for $10 Dora dollars. This is just what I do. You guys don't have to do any of this, but I'm trying to get people to RSVP so that they get that notification. So that's how I get people to RSVP. Then I have another giveaway for people that'll share my live because I'm live on my business page. So I have like things that get people motivated to just be there and just be in the room, and in the room, the virtual room. And that's really, really been helping. It's been helping a lot. And I start sneak peeking. I don't typically start sneak peeking the day before. I typically do it the day of. And I'll release things throughout the day that I'm having, that I'm launching that evening. And having that hype and getting that build up from people, because they're like, oh, well, what is she going to post next? Like, they always want to know what it is, what all the things are that you're going to be posting. So that works for me in my group. And, but no, I do not start sneak peeking more than the day before. Like anything before that, no, we're talking about like old stuff. If we're talking about, other days, but day before, sometimes, always day of.
Okay.
So I don't even know if that answered the question.
Yes, no, you did. I popped in and out. I was actually catching up with the chat. I'm going to answer some of your guys' questions really, really quick. So as far as, I think it was Brittany mentioning that you guys don't have consistency. Yeah. So if you can't get consistent because your schedule is all over the place, what you have to do is you have to utilize the events in your group. You have to be scheduling events so that your group at least knows. And then you keep sharing that link like, hey, RSVP, we have this event coming up. You can use email campaigns to send reminders for these. You can maybe do text alerts for when you have new inventory. You can just randomly send out text alerts. There's things that you can do to be proactive when you can't be consistent. So as far as the check-in post, that's going to be in your group. That's not going to be on your business page. So for somebody was asking about that. And then asking permission from your customers to email them. No, I don't ask permission. They are my customer. I just email them. In the MailChimp service and in my campaign service that I use from Shipping Easy, it will it'll ask them, or at the bottom, all of these services say unsubscribe, so they can unsubscribe if they really don't want it. But yeah, that's fine. Okay, so let's talk about the other question that was in here is, how do you plan your sales? So I'll start, and then Shelby is on if Shelby wants to hop in too. But how do you guys, like, based on your inventory that's coming in, how do you go through and schedule what you're selling was one of the questions. So for me personally, sometimes I'll print like my inventory and like see what's coming, and I'll write it down, and I'll cohesively put together sales. So like things that will go together and sell well together, like as hopefully an outfit. So last week I did dusters, and everybody liked the duster outfits. Like they wanted the whole outfit. So if I would have done everydays and like dresses, I would have missed out on being able to sell dusters with the everydays. So it's always about like upselling in my head. So like I'll try to pair it up as best as I can for cohesiveness. Like I'll go through my last week. So I had swings, cardigans, hoodies, curies, pullovers, everydays, and dusters. That probably went over all of your heads, but now I'll tell you how I broke it down. So I did my everydays and dusters because that's a really cute outfit. And then my curies and joplins, I did a quick dress thing, a little dress. I didn't have very many, so I do lunch and lives because I am like free during the day all the time. And so I figured, well, whatever, if I hop on and sell $500, sweet. It's better than nothing. So that was something I didn't have a lot of. So I found a sale that wasn't really like a huge sale anyways, and I put that in there. And then the pullovers go really well with our dresses, so I just put the pullovers with that because they're not new. I had them before, so it was just a way for me to hopefully sell more of them. And then the other night I did cardigans, swings, and hoodies. Because the cardigans and swings can go together, and then the cardies and the hoodies are kind of like a layering piece. And then I did a hoodies sale because my hoodies sell freaking all, like I can't keep them in stock. So I just did a freaking big hoodies sale. But I kind of look at what's coming and I make cohesive sales. So a non-cohesive sale would be like selling hoodies and curies on the same lives. Like that's not cohesive. Selling swings and cardigans, like that's more cohesive. So that's kind of how I plan my sales. What was the other thing? Kelsey's not on here. I haven't seen her, unless Kelsey you are and I just don't see you. What Kelsey does too is that even if you're not live and you guys can't go live, Kelsey link drops all day long. She'll post flat lays and herself in clothes all day long. So you don't really have to go live either, or do outfits like that. You can just do link drops. That's what I call it. I don't know. But anyways, okay, Heather, do you want to, or where is Shelby? She's still, oh, there's Shelby. Shelby, how do you plan your sales for the week?
Okay, so I'm actually like completely opposite from whatever you guys do.
Good. We love opposite. That gives options.
So over planning stuff like really stresses me out. I struggle with anxiety so bad, and anything like past a week, I literally cannot think that far because then I over plan it and it always crashes and burns every single time because I've like way overthinked it. So what I typically do is I don't have like a set schedule like I'm live on these days. I have days that I like to go live, like Mondays and Fridays, but it doesn't always work out because I'm fickle and my kids are fickle, and like it just doesn't work. So what I do is, if I know like I have like a bunch of stuff coming like that day, then I really hype it up. I post an event. If I usually post the event a couple of hours before, I don't even usually do it the day before, because and my people are used to that with me. They know that like I just kind of come out of nowhere. So I mean, I've been doing it that way for the past year, and so they know that. But that is how I am consistent, is I just surprise them, you know? So if I actually like plan something out, like, oh, it's going to be Friday, you know, they're like, what are you doing? Like, stop, you know? So, but I do the same thing where I like think about like what I have and see how I can pair it together and all of that. But I just do it like right then, like,
On the fly.
yeah, I do it either like on the live, or I'll do it like a couple hours before, like when I make the event and stuff, just because that's what works for me. Just because seriously, planning it out like that, like really stresses me out. I can't do that.
Well, so let me explain a second, because you're right there. So when I say I plan, like I do plan, but there's always room for my plan B, like to change something last minute based on, you know, what is selling, because some of this stuff is actually on my site beforehand. And so if it changes, like there is flexibility in your, like, you don't have to be so planned out too.
Yeah.
So
well,
yeah.
and if you're going to do it that way too, you have to make sure that your people are engaging in your group, because otherwise the algorithm is going to work against you if you just randomly start doing a sale. Then no one's going to see it because they hadn't been like commenting on your stuff before. So I don't do like a lot of those like cheesy, like, I don't know, drop an emoji kind of things, you know, but I try to do like engagement posts where like it's funny and like they have to say something because it's too hilarious, you know, like stuff like that. Just so if I know like, okay, I have a bunch of stuff coming tomorrow and I'm probably going to randomly do a sale, then I try to get one of those going, so that way I know that they're going to see when I post the event.
Yes, it circulates.
Yeah.
So if you do plan to do spontaneous, you have to have some legwork and prep work to get the word
Well, the
out.
only reason it works now is because like I've been doing that, you know.
Yeah.
That's the only
Well, there
reason.
is consistency and inconsistency.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome. And that's good. Okay, so let's talk about, like, I wrote sales tips, but that's pretty much what the whole thing is on. But I want to talk about, like, how do you guys create urgency? And, like, what are some words you guys use when you're, like, posting your events, or you're posting your, hey, this is coming up, or when you're even selling live? I have some words, but I've been talking a lot. So maybe I'll have Lauren or Heather take this one, or maybe Shelby. But what are some words you use and taglines, or whatever you want to call it, to get people like excited and create that urgency to buy?
Okay, I'll just go. So, I mean, I think that part of that urgency is that like slow, or is that like calculated hype, you know, that you're creating beforehand. Because then the more people that are commenting on your posts, the more people that are, you know, getting excited about it. I mean, that's like a ripple effect, right? And more and more people are going to see, first of all, they're going to see the posts because you have people commenting on them. And you're going to have more and more people getting excited for stuff. So I think that that's part of it. Even though you're not necessarily using certain like verbiage. And then the other thing that I do is I tend to now only buy like one run and stuff. I'm not buying like, I mean, so it kind of depends on what it is, right? But like for Velvet Swings, for example, I bought one run of all the colors except gold. And I bought one, you know, and it's like when it's gone, it's gone. And so I think that also kind of creates that sense of urgency, because I always make sure that I tell people that I'm like, this is it. I'm not going to restock. I'm not going to restock. I'm not going to restock because I'm done restocking. So, I think that helps with that. I'll put like little Running Man emojis sometimes in my posts. It's things like that I do. I don't know that I necessarily use, besides saying like, this is limited, I'm not going to restock, or, that kind of thing. I don't tend to use words like, I don't tend to say that things are sold out. I don't tend to, sometimes I do, I guess, but I don't like make a habit of it. Not for any particular reason. I just don't. I don't, so it's like that kind of thing I don't tend to say, but I do say that I'm stocking a limited number, that, this is what I have and then it's gone. I'm not going to restock them, that kind of thing. So
I like that word, limited.
Right. So I say limited a lot.
Yeah. And that's actually part of what we're going to talk about too, is how much you buy and like what you plan to buy. And the one is definitely a huge selling point too, because oh my gosh, there's only one. I need it. If I need it, I got to get it now. Lauren, what about you? Do you even know the question?
Your verbiage during a sale, especially a live sale, but also posting, is like the defining factor in whether or not you're getting the sale or not. There's like, I can't tell you how many people have said, I do exactly what you do and I didn't sell those. It's like, you didn't do exactly the same thing. There's promoting before the sale even happens to actually get the people paying attention to you. Because if you've got no one paying attention to you, it doesn't really matter what you have or what you say. But what you say during the sale, you have to, one, give that person a reason why they have to have that item, because there's a million articles of clothing, there's a million clothing stores, they can buy clothing all different kinds of places. Like, why this piece? Why right now? So you have to give them the answer to that question, and then you have to place that sense of urgency there. So this is my only one, this is the last one, these are selling out really fast, these are sold out with the company, I'm not able to get any more of them, this color is going to fly, this is, things like that, so that there's a concern in the customer that if they pass on it now, they're not going to find it another time, they're not going to get it later, is important, because if they don't feel that, they're probably not going to buy it right then. They're going to go think about it for a while. I purchased obviously a large inventory budget. I could have spent pretty much whatever I wanted on holiday, up to $15,000, $20,000, and it would have been as part of my inventory budget. I purchased one of every adult SKU in every color and pattern. I could have bought 10 pairs of the buffalo check leggings. It would have been in my budget. I chose not to, because when it came, I wanted to sell out. I wanted to be able to tell people that I had one of every size and every SKU. So if they wanted something, they better be paying attention on that sale right away. And they were. So I think that goes into the buying strategically, and we'll talk about that later. But your verbiage while you're selling is really, really super important. I hear a lot of times when people are selling live, they're like, okay, let me know if you're interested in it. It's like, I wouldn't be interested in it. And it's like, you haven't made it interesting or exciting for that person. If they feel like this is the last chance for them to get that, that's when they're going to be compelled to make the purchase. So, and even if you have more than one, there's a difference between like lying to the customer and creating a sense of urgency. You can say these are going to sell out. That doesn't mean that you didn't get more than one in something. That just means that you're expecting that piece to sell out. And there's a lot of times that things sell out with the company, but you may have been able to get a couple of them. So you can still use it's sold out with the company line.
You had kind of mentioned it too, but when you are live, especially, like, people can read you. So if you're not excited or they don't buy, you have to be genuine. Like, guys, this is a hot print. If these are gonna fly. Being excited about it, not like when Lauren said, let me know if you're interested, like that tone doesn't create urgency. Your tone can create urgency too. If you're excited, that'll just, whoa, what's going on? That'll get people excited too. So, okay, let's see.
Can I jump in there?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What I do is kind of similar to like what Lauren does, but I kind of try to use the approach of like making them forget that they're spending money. Like, so I don't really say like, oh, this is, you know, gonna sell out or anything like that a lot. Like I do sometimes, but I try to talk to them like how I was like, if I was like talking to a friend, you know, and like when I'm posting stuff in my group, I'll like, if I'm posting a picture of me and something, I think about like, okay, if I was sending this to a friend and I was really excited about like my new outfit, what would I say? You know? And so that's how I try to like word it there. And that is what builds trust with people, because they like can see your personality and they start to like you. And once they trust you, then you can say, I love this black garbage bag. This will look cute on anything, you know, and they'll give you all their money for it.
Yeah. Yes, that is true too. I like that. Noted, because all I do is link drop. Maybe if I just, this is
no, you should still put the link for sure, but like in like the word before
like
it, like,
more of the why.
yeah, I
Okay.
yeah.
Somebody had said the other day, and I took note, I'm still learning every day too. Somebody said that when you write a post or when you say like, oh, this shirt is so cute or whatever, because like why you need it, because if you put because and then give a reason why they need it, they're more likely to buy. Like they gave a percentage. I don't remember what the percentage is, but that totally makes sense, because if you say, oh, this dress is really cute, you compare it with boots. Okay, well, what if you say this dress is so cute, you compare it with or this dress is so cute because you compare it with boots and it's the perfect fall, like holiday picture. I've been using the whole, this is great for holiday photos and holiday events and whatever. But if you can give that because, like why they need it, because of a certain reason, that kind of makes it more like, it gets them thinking. So,
if you can get them emotionally attached to the piece, that will work. And like get them thinking about wearing it. Like I had purchased runs of 10 in the green plaid pencil skirt last year when everybody in the company was on the main rep page complaining about why the company would release plaid in February. That's St. Patrick's Day. And I sold them at St. Patrick's Day scarves. If you didn't like a pencil skirt, it's a cute pencil skirt, but if you don't want to wear it as a pencil skirt. And I said, you're going to be sad on St. Patrick's Day when you wake up and you remember this scarf that you could have had for $22 that would have been so cute as your little green thing, and you're the only person that doesn't have one. They bought them all. Because it's true, because we all on St. Patrick's Day wake up, and we didn't think about it because we're grown-ups, but we're all like, oh, it'd be kind of cute to, you know, have a little green and be festive today and like celebrate the holiday. And that was such a cute little accessory to be able to grab, and you didn't have to think about it, and you can wear it as a skirt, you can wear it as a scarf, and it works for other occasions too. It's not like a leprechaun. But I got them thinking about actually wearing it on a particular day and time, and so they like could see themselves in it and then became kind of emotionally attached to that idea. And then
I think the important thing too with you doing that is you didn't just say it once and then dropped it because, oh, it didn't work. You like did it over and over again. So like the fourth time they heard it, they were like, oh my God, she's right. You know,
they claimed it as the St. Patrick's Day skirt, or scarf, you guys, for like a year. I had like a couple random ones left over, and when I sold the last like couple, it literally on my Google form, they claimed it as the St. Patrick's Day skirt.
Good, that's what we want. Okay, so we'll transition to the party site a little bit, and then we'll go into like inventory purchasing. So I know people think, oh, party site, and then that's where it ends. Like I feel like there's strategy in how you present your party site even, and what's reflected on your party site. So it's not as easy as select all inventory. Like I don't think you should ever just have select all inventory checked. Unless you're like brand spanking new, but like after a few months, you need to start unselecting that button. Okay. So the things that I start, like I'm constantly looking at what's in my inventory. I have one of everything hung in my inventory, so I can I'm a very visual person, so I can visually see what is on my site and what's not on my site. And if I go in there right now, I'm not going to carry my computer in there. But you'll see that what's on my site now looks very fall and winter colors, and then everything that's pulled off is very like pinks and yellows and bright colors. So I will take everything off by like season. If it's seasonal color or whatever, I will take it off and I will relaunch it in the next season. Other things that I will do for my party site is once something sells down to like one, like I have one left, like one, it finally just sold. I was about to pull it off this week if it didn't sell. I usually leave it up for like a week to see if that last one sells, but after that, I'll pull my onesies off, sometimes even my twosies, because it clutters the things that are available, because it gets so specific on who that's for that I'll take it off, and that's me personally, and I'll just have like a little onesie rack, and I'll eventually do a onesie sale with all those ones and do it by size or something. Or now that we're having like sales that pop up, I mean, I don't know what's coming, but maybe that'll be something that I force out in a sale, like all my onesie stuff. That'll be on a onesie link or whatever. So that's my plan. But if you have tons of onesies, it clutters. Same with like if you have spring on your site when it's winter, it clutters what people are actually able to purchase from your site, which will drive down sales instead of drive up sales. So even though I have like 1,100 in my inventory, probably only 700 of it is actually available for my customers to buy. It's like it's constantly changing. And I don't want them sick of looking at something for the entire season until I want them to actually start purchasing it, because then they've been looking at it all summer and I want them to buy it in the winter, or they've been looking at it all winter and then I want them to buy it in the summer. They're not going to buy it because they've been looking at it all winter. Versus if I launch it brand new, they're going to like buy it, hopefully. Okay, so what are some things that you guys do when you're like planning out your links and stuff? Anyone? Or what you do? Maybe you guys don't do it the same as me.
No, I do like pretty much exactly the same. And it's funny because I literally just had a Zoom the other day with my team talking about this exact thing. Like everything that you said, but like way more in depth, like, you know, because we went for like an hour. But yeah, somebody was asking, what if your inventory is small? Should you still not select all? I have a very small inventory and I do not select all. I don't. I go through and pick and choose what I have on there. Even if it's small, like you still want them to be focused on stuff. Obviously you don't want to have like 5 things on there, but I have maybe, I don't know how many, I probably have like less than now after I like sold out over the past couple of days, I have probably like less than 300 pieces on my site and then probably another 200 that aren't on it.
Yeah. And I think that some people think that just because it's not on your site doesn't mean that it's not ever going to sell. Like it will. There will be time for that piece to sell. Maybe, like I said, you could do your onesie sale by size and it'll sell then. But like I remember the first time it dawned on me to take my spring off. And when I did that, my inventory looked new to everybody who had been on my site because they were seeing things that were like lost in the shuffle of everything else. And things that I hadn't sold in a long time started selling. Like it was, I just couldn't even, like, it was obvious to me. So I've been doing it ever since. Lauren, you want to say something?
Yeah, I cleaned up my inventory in after the summer, maybe late September, and I posted in my group, hey, I just updated my inventory with a ton of new fall items. I mean, I didn't really have any new fall items. I just had stuff that was fall feeling that hadn't really sold all summer. Some of it was left over from the year before. Actually, a lot of it was left over from the year before. And I pulled off all of my spring feeling stuff. So all of a sudden, my site looked brand new with all of this fall and winter feeling stuff. And their brain didn't have to sort through what felt more spring summery. And I mean, it was one of the biggest just link drop sales I ever had. It was like 20 something orders. It wasn't like a full on sale. It was literally just a link drop. Hey, updated my inventory. Here's what it looks like or whatever. So, and it was last year's Austins and Angelus that were plaid and a couple random fallish kind of feeling leggings and some middies that felt like more fall and that kind of stuff. And it was just because their brain didn't have to sort through all of the stuff that was kind of out of season. And I know we've heard feedback from a lot of people, like, it's like everyone's scared. Like, well, what if somebody's going to buy that midi that I feel like is never, ever, ever going to sell, and they can't get it because I took it off. But
they'll find something else.
That's not a thing. So you're going to sell, it's kind of like with the markdown stuff, the quantity that you will sell if you edit your site and you put it back up when it is seasonally appropriate far outweighs that one random person that happened to be looking for that one pink skirt the one day and saw it. You're going to lose more sales by keeping your site not cohesive looking overall than worrying about that one random piece that may have randomly sold during something. So you may have just 2 or 3 pieces that don't feel like they fit in the season. You know, when Jill's talking about the hundreds of pieces, I had 600 before the clearance markdown sale. I had 600 pieces that weren't on the site. Those were poor inventory buying choices for me over the spring and summer. But when we're talking about the hundreds of pieces, you have to remember how long we've been doing this, how high our sales are, what our inventory budget looks like when you're looking at that. So yours might be a handful or a couple. Those are great things to pull out and throw into a random outfit sale if you can make them feel seasonally appropriate on a live sale or an outfit drop or something like that. Or just stick it aside for, come early February, it's not that far away. People are going to start looking for and wanting spring feeling stuff. And last year when that happened, the company was running a little bit behind on having stuff that felt spring. And I was like, oh man, if I had a couple spring things left over from the year before, like I'd be in, great shape right now. So it's best to edit.
Yeah. And when you have a smaller inventory, you're not going to notice those. Mm-hmm. It's easier for us to know because we have a large inventory that is something that will affect sales. So it's easier for us to see that with a larger inventory, and you guys might not notice it so much now, but just know that those are like habits that you probably may not see, but they're doing good in your business. So just trust us on that as you, I guess, grow yours. So let's talk about how we order. And mine is like, especially now that we're going into now consistent launches, like there's consistently stuff. I mean, when I first started, we had inventory and then we didn't, and then we had a lot and then we didn't. I mean, it's just been all over the place. And so now that it's consistent, I'm kind of finding my rhythm even in ordering. So some of the things that, as you guys, get in, oh gosh, 10 days and I will have had my kit for a year. I just realized that. So, I mean, now that I'm finally like to my year point, I'm getting like, I know trends in my group. And so as you guys get there, maybe you're already there or whatever, you're going to know like what your group likes, what your group doesn't like. You're going to be able to be smarter about your inventory decisions. Like I know my group hates blue. I know my group hates like the bubblegum pink. I know my group hates skirts. They love dresses, I know kind of specifically what styles they kind of like. So you're going to find those out too, which is going to affect what you actually purchase in inventory. You're also going to find out what sizes they kind of buy and which ones sell more than the others. So when we talk about runs, like you'll buy one run in something, but one run to me is one in everything and then double in small, medium, large, because those sell the most. That's one run for me. So, okay, let's see, what was that? So, okay, Lauren, where's Heather? Heather? Oh, there, you haven't talked in a little while. Why don't you and Shelby, kind of do a little on how you decide, well, let's say, how many sizes, what to order for your inventory?
When I started, I used to sell like a pretty decent number of extra smalls. My group has now kind of changed over and I have more plus ladies in my group. So, whereas I did not used to purchase 3X, now I do. And I make sure that I have like as much as possible, or as much variety as possible. I have started not buying as many extra smalls. I do not buy extra small anything ever anymore. Because I just don't, that's just not my market. I don't know why. I don't think I really created that. It just kind of happened. But so when I'm purchasing, I'm thinking about, you know, what do I already have, first of all, because I personally feel like for me, having a good variety in a smaller number of items is what works for me. So if I'm going to bring in something new, unless it's like a limited kind of release from HQ or something, but if I'm going to bring in something new, like let's say that I didn't carry swings and I was going to start carrying swings, I would buy like a crap ton. I would buy as many as I could in as many different prints, and I would buy full runs. So because full runs always sell better than, for me, they always sell better than having like one or two in a print. So I like load up on stuff. A year ago, or, you know, around a year ago, before we had the party site, and when I was just starting, that was something that I utilized a lot, was bringing in like one item and releasing one item in a week. So because I had a small budget. And so I would look at things that people were destashing, because like Jill said, we didn't have inventory. So we just didn't have it available. So I would look at what people were destashing, and I'm like, okay, everybody's destashing middies. So I'm going to buy 50 middies, and I'm going to bring them in, and I'm going to do a live sale so that it's not, you know, so obvious that I only have one of something. And I did. And whereas other people weren't able to move them, I sold like 40 out of 50 middies that day, just because, you know, I had hyped it up. I had a lot of one type of thing. I talked about every single piece, you know, is it stretchy? Is it not stretchy? I would show the prints. So, you know, it's like that kind of stuff. And I know that as long as I do that when I'm bringing in new inventory, then I know I'm going to be able to move at least some of it. So, yeah, so I look at what is launching, and I look at what I have currently, and I either add on to a style that I already carry, or I bring in a new style and I buy as much of it as I can. So that's kind of the way that I look at it.
Shelby?
Yeah, I kind of, like, especially when I first started, but it kind of went for a little bit longer than that because I had to have a smaller inventory when we were, like, supposed to be moving and stuff. So I would do pretty much the same thing. I would pick one thing and buy a ton of it. I was going to say something bad. I was going to buy a lot of it, and then I would sell the you-know-what out of it, and then take all of that, all of that money, and, well, I had to take a profit. So I would take, like, as much profit as I needed to, and then take the rest and put it into a totally different style. And so I would just do that every week, just over and over. And sometimes I would do it multiple times a week. So I would have like a sale one day that was dresses, and then a sale another day that was a certain kind of a top, as time went on and I started being able to purchase more. Sorry, kids screaming. I think that's all I'm going to be able to get out.
So that's how Shelby and I ran our Periscope businesses for the first like several months that we did. What we were doing like primarily Periscope is we focused on one style or two complementary styles a week or every 2 weeks, and we focused on having as many selection and variety as possible. So like 6 to 10, even 12 if it was a more popular size, like smaller, medium through extra large, and having like, if we were doing tunics, having like blue, pink, red, something neutral, and then several different patterns. And that works really effectively. At this point, I can tell you that I see two things that work really well. When the other company started, they only sold maxi skirts, and when we started, we only sold leggings. So that's proof that very massively large companies, billion-dollar, million-dollar, multi-million-dollar companies, can be made from selling one SKU. So what I found that works is either have a limited number of SKUs, even one SKU, and have all of the choices in all the different sizes, or have a wide variety of styles and have a couple select like very edited choices. So at this point now, I have a huge variety of styles, but if you look, I don't have 100 swings. I have like 3 or 4, but it's still a good selection. It's like a black, a brighter solid, and then 1 or 2 patterns. So I have much fewer choices per size than I used to carry, but I have a much larger selection in styles. And I've seen that both work. But it doesn't work the other way around. If you have just one style, you can't just have 1 or 2 choices. You have to have all the choices. And if you have a ton of different styles, it won't do any good for your bottom line to stock 20 choices in every size. It's too many choices for people. You're not Walmart. You haven't edited for them. It doesn't feel cohesive. So if you have a larger inventory, focus on having a very edited number of pieces per style. And if you have a smaller inventory, focus on having fewer styles, but a really, really good selection. So if you have a smaller inventory, if you're just getting started and you have a smaller inventory, or if you've been around and you just don't want to carry a large inventory, you shouldn't be selecting items to carry that you can't get a good selection in.
Well, and Shelby had mentioned this too, and I didn't even really think about it until after she said it. And then I caught myself on like shopping another company, like Target or whatever. And I was scrolling. Actually, it was Lululemon. I'm looking for workout tank tops. And I was like scrolling through all of the different options. And Shelby said, if you give too many options, people get overwhelmed and then they don't buy it all. And you know what? My Lululemon checkout, I don't even know if it's timed out. I don't even know. Like I gave up. Like there were just too many options because there was too many styles and then there was too many colors within the styles. And then I didn't know what size. I mean, I just gave up. So like sometimes options is not like it'll work against you too. So that's where like the selecting and unselecting too comes into play. Okay. So while you guys were talking, I was writing notes. I don't know which one of you guys said this, but some of the things that I thought about was when I go to like look at what I'm buying too, especially like now with these new launches, I think about what one is selling in my group, what's doing really well, and what has done well. Like what do I have currently a lot of, or I have already sold a lot of. And I take that into account too, because there's a lot of cardigans and like layering pieces that are out right now, but we've also had a ton of those. So it's like, at what point do you like, yes, they've been selling and yes, they're available and yes, I've had a lot, but like your group, they're going to get layered out, for example. So you have to be very strategic at some point in how many you continue to bring in, because eventually you're going to hit a wall of you're buying them and then they're like, you're just sitting on them because you have so many. So, and that's one of the things like I've been thinking of too, because I have bought a lot. I have some on the way, and I know in the pre-order next, I have even more coming. So I'm trying not to buy so many cardies because my group is going to be cardied out. Lauren, it looks like you want to say something.
Remember when everybody got really upset because there were no cardigans?
Yeah, what? Huh? What are you talking about?
Remember that?
Yeah.
There's so many cardigans, you guys. There's so many cardigans to buy. So, okay, so what Jill was saying is, if something's been selling, okay, so when I was newer, I couldn't afford to stock dresses because dresses are really expensive, and I knew that I would need to have a good selection to be able to sell them. So I didn't stock dresses for months. When I finally decided to stock dresses, I picked the Curie to go first because I was getting a lot of traction on the Curie, a lot of questions, a lot of people wanting to like, for me to like look for a Curie for them and stuff. And I could get a variety of Curies. Plus it looks good on a lot of people. So I stocked Curies. I promoted the sale. I had 6 to 8 in every size. And I sold 38 Curies in an hour and a half on Periscope, which is insane. So, but I restocked a couple times, and I sold through Curies for maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months, and then that was it. And I didn't buy Curies again. I sold through what I had, and I even destashed some Curies. And I didn't buy Curies again until just this past launch where there was some solid colored Curies. Because when you push something in your group, so like cardigans, dusters, pullovers, leggings, whatever it is, when you're pushing something through your group in a high volume and you're moving through it, at some point there's a tolerance level where everyone has a couple, and now they're kind of like, it's like boring, and like they already have a few, and it's harder for them to justify the purchase on more of something that they already have. So I think the mistake that I've made before, and I see other people make, is something's a hot seller, so then like they kind of go big on another order or two of it, but it played out in your group already. So I would stop a little bit before you're ahead on those things. So if you've had a couple really great duster sales, I would kind of slow down on your purchasing, not amp it up.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I have made that same mistake where I was like, oh my God, this is selling so well. Let me restock in 2 in every size. And then, no, I'm sitting
or 5.
Yeah.
So there's our
Does anybody need Godivas?
No.
Free today.
Let's talk about restock then, because I think that's a huge whoopsie that people can make, especially at where we're right now, and like what restock is, and like the whole 2 week and stuff. Okay, so back when we didn't really have a lot of inventory, I would go back and restock, and what I found is that people, they want what they want right now. So once you launch something, you do not go back, even if it's hot and everybody wants it and they're like clamoring for it, like that leopard swing. Okay, let's use that as an example. I don't know if it sold out for you guys. It was like hotcakes. Okay, everybody wanted it. I probably could have restocked it and sold maybe a couple more, but I guarantee you I would have been sitting on a ton of extra because I've done it. I think I did it 3 times before I learned my lesson. I would rather be a one and done. Okay, sorry. A one and done kind of girl than do like multiples, okay? And then sit on it, because that's going to tie up your inventory. So the idea is to sell out, especially when we have new stuff. Sell out, make it a special item. I mean, you don't have to restock. Go back for something that you didn't get the first time and use that as like your new item. So when I go and restock, that's what I'm doing. I'm not actually going back and restocking with something that I've already carried and launched. I'm going back for something that I didn't get the first time at launch and launching it as something brand new. My group doesn't know any different. Like I launched the Forever Cardi like 2 weeks after everybody else did. I didn't even get it. Maybe it was even a month. Like I didn't carry it. I wasn't excited about it. And then I got it and it grew on me and I tried it and I saw Buffy in it and blah, blah, blah. And so like a month after I went back and I got it. And I launched it at my open house, and then I pretty much almost sold out of it after. So, I mean, go back for things that you didn't grab the first time instead of restocking something that is that was a sure sellout or whatever, because your group, they're going to be over it by that second time. And Lauren's nodding. Lauren, do you want to say something?
Yeah. So you should think of your inventory as like 2 separate parts. You should have like basics, and they should be basically stocked all the time. So like black dolmens, a black high-low when they're available, some kind of black top, like a more value. If you have a larger inventory, a more value top, a black top, and then a more premium black top, and then things like maybe a black maxi skirt, or some kind of solid colored black legging, or some other kind of solid or neutral color pant option, if or when those are available. Those would be basics, everyday tees, and a couple solids and maybe a print that's not necessarily seasonal, like season specific. Those kinds of things would be things I would restock. If I sell out of my gray everydays, I'm going to go ahead and restock whatever size is sold, so that when someone goes on my site, they can grab an everyday tee in gray in whatever size. Any of like the patterns or like the launch inventory, so like velvet swings, specialty leggings, like patterned kind of anything. for the most part. That's the kind of stuff that with very few exceptions, I'm going to grab one size run in that. And when it's sold, and I've learned my lesson not to go back and restock, because that time that they were on your live and they were all begging for that is when they had that like emotional response to that piece of inventory, and they wanted it right that second. Now that they've had a week or two to like think about it and see some other stuff and see stuff that you might be selling next time, like it's gone. Like that's gone. And so with very few exceptions, those things aren't going to go like that. And it's going to be inventory that ends up sitting in your inventory and then eventually becomes dead inventory. So I would always have basics stocked in your shop, and then your launch inventory. The way I purchase my launch inventory, and what I would suggest you guys do, is you only buy what you think you literally can sell out of in one big sale.
Yes, what Lauren said.
Yeah. I did forget the staples. Yeah, the staples are the only thing that you really restock. Like those relaxed ruffles, black and white, the everyday black and gray, like those I'll keep as stocked as I can. Everything else, no.
And there's certain things like, you know, there are certain things that I may not always restock. I may not always like have in my inventory that that I might decide to restock for like a season. So I just recently went in and placed a large black order. Some of those black pieces were things I probably wouldn't have necessarily cared about restocking, but when there's a huge number of people that are going to be looking for black items, that's something that I'm going to want to have. I'm going to want to have a fully stocked inventory of black maxis in every size, black relaxed ruffles, black wrap tops, black dolmans, black swings, even Lee dresses, because now that they're $30, to have a solid black dress that someone can grab for $30, like that's going to be a win.
So Catherine asks, so how would you know when they've met their tolerance as far as like buying a style? And I don't know, I mean, you to know before it becomes a problem, like before you're sitting on all that inventory, there's not really like a red flag waving. If there was, it would be easy. But I think it's like when you notice it start to slow, like that is when. But sometimes even getting ahead of it, like you don't have to wait for that time for it to slow before you just pull the plug on it yourself as just a business owner and just making that decision. Would anybody else want to, how would you know when they've met their tolerance and when to stop buying those?
I think that a lot of it is just like, it's kind of just instinct, you know? I think that it's also, like, I think that Jill's right that, you know, you see things that stop selling, like, for example, swings. Swings, of course, used to be like super, super hot seller. You know, a ton of them would sell every time I would bring them in. Right now, we have a ton of baby suede swings on the website, and I keep going, and I'll like cart a bunch of them, and then I don't check out. And the reason that I don't check out is because even though I really like them, they just haven't really been selling for me. And like my group has kind of moved on to something else, you know? So now I don't want to get stuck with 300 baby suede swings, you know? And so like sometimes when I'm like kind of testing it out, sometimes what I'll do is I'll buy one run in something that I already carry. So like we'll use swings for example. So a few weeks ago when they had those really pretty red baby suede swings with the roses, I grabbed one run of those. I didn't buy any of the other swings. I only bought those because I wanted to see, you know, is my group back to wanting that type of thing? Are they back to wanting baby suede? You know, swings in particular? And I brought those in. I only bought one run, and I've only sold a handful of them. So because of that reaction, I'm not buying more, even though they're pretty, even though they're soft. You know, I have a lot of people that have shopped with me for a long time in my group, and I think they're just kind of like swinged out at this point. So there's that. So like testing the waters, that kind of thing. I also kind of like tend to like focus on different things at different times, right? So right now I'm not focusing on, well, I mean, I'm focusing on velvet swings, but right now, like during November, I'm doing a no shave November in my group. So I'm focusing on like long skirts because I knew I had ball skirts and leggings coming. So I have long skirts, I have leggings, I have, you know, things that cover your armpits. Like I'm like all about the no shave November this month in my group. And so those are the things that I'm pushing this month. So I'm not bringing in things like swings, things that are short sleeved. So anyway, that's, I don't know that that's like a scientific method, but that's what I do.
Yeah. Well, and I've done that before too. I mean, not specifically, but I've kind of just been watching. Well, let's see how quickly this sells before I restock.
Right.
Oh, and here's another thing that we didn't really discuss, but when it comes to like purchasing, like you, Heather, had mentioned, you don't buy any extra small anymore. And I do have extra small in my group. I'm an extra small too. I carry all the sizes actually, but I noticed that those smallest and the largest sizes don't move as fast. They move once, and then that's something I don't restock. So when I go to buy something too, I will get like, let's say 5 of the duster colors and only 3 of them I will get in the full size run. Everything else I'll get extra small to extra large, or extra small to 2X. Yeah. So I give them options, but I don't give them all the options to make sure that I will sell out and I won't be left with an abundance either.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I actually did that exact same thing with the velvet swings. I bought 5 colors, but I think I only bought 2 colors in extra small. I didn't get anything in extra small. My 2X and 3X actually sells out almost immediately every time. But you know, so it's just about the sizes. My extra smalls, I'll buy like limited colors in, and my smalls don't move as fast. So it's like, it just depends on what your group, you know, what the majority of your group is and what they buy. I'm like swimming in small stuff right now. I don't know why.
Yeah, when I was newer and I had a smaller inventory, I did my inventory every week, and that would be something I would encourage you to do if you have like under 300 pieces, is to physically count and put your hands on your inventory, because it'll do a couple things. You'll have a really good feel for what you do have and whether or not it's even really shoppable. But also you'll start thinking about outfit ideas and sales ideas, because you're like, wow, I have a lot of these skirts. I better, you know, figure out a way to move through these or whatever. But I had a spreadsheet that I would track my inventory on. And so I sorted it by style and by size. So I could see proportionally how disproportionate or proportional my inventory was. So if I had, you know, 12 things in extra small and I had 0 larges, and I had 4 extra larges and 5 of everything else, it's like, well, no wonder these aren't selling. I mean, it's totally disproportional. I can't even sell someone a large top. So that's something I've gotten away from now that my inventory is larger, and it's something that I noticed was a problem, because just a couple weeks ago, I was talking with Jill, just a couple weeks ago, I told my group I was going to do outfits. I went to put together outfits. I couldn't put together a single outfit. I had no tops. How does that happen? I had no tops. There was a couple sizes I literally didn't have a single top in a couple sizes, because I had just been buying the pretty things at launches and all the sizes, and I wasn't paying attention to what styles I had or needed. When we did the markdown, I mean, you guys, I think I had 50 extra small skirts. I mean, because I didn't pay attention to what sizes I was selling in what proportions. I saw a pretty skirt that launched. I bought it extra small to 3X. And so if you can even once a month would be a good idea, but every other week we have launches every other week. Now we used to have launches every week. So every other week launches, if you count your inventory every other week and you do that spreadsheet, you're going to know, okay, do I really need to buy anything in extra small? Probably not. Do I need to buy anything in 3X? Maybe I don't. You know, how many extra larges do I have? And so then you can make better purchases. And we do tell you guys to buy full size runs, and we still do believe that's best. But for certain things, like things that are more staple pieces, or for things like skirts, for example, pencil skirts in extra small, that's a fairly tiny profile. So if your group tends to shy away from extra small in general, you definitely don't need many extra small pencil skirts because of the form-fitted nature of it. It's, you know, it's not just their waist that needs to be small, like their hips need to be small too. So I would buy like half the number of extra small pencil skirts as you would normally buy in pencil. So just what Heather was saying, you buy the full size run, but like when we bought the last launch, half the dusters that I bought, I only bought half the dusters in extra small. The rest of them I bought small through 3X. And you want to be careful how you're doing that too. Like I bought both of the black dusters. So one I bought in extra small, the other one I didn't. So I have an extra small black duster, just not in both styles. Same thing with the Aztec. I bought 3 different Aztec dusters. I bought one of them in extra small. The rest I bought small through 3X. So you want to look at like patterns and colors too when you're looking at what sizes to buy.
Okay. We'll do 8 more minutes. 12:30 we're gonna hop off, or else we could be here all day. We'll take a couple questions. I'm gonna look at the last questions that came in here. Or maybe, hold on one. And if you guys have any, comment, and then we will hop off in 8 minutes. So you've got 8 minutes if you have a question burning inside.
Sorry, in the chat, it's talking about things that run big. So you're buying the size run for the sizes that people are actually buying. So if you do not stock 3X, if you only stock up to 2X, the Oakley runs a size big. So you're only buying the Oakley in extra large.
Yes.
You may need to, if you're pushing a lot of people to the party site and you're newer, so you don't have as much education happening in your group yet, you may need to edit that stock photo to have a little banner across it that says, this runs big, size down 1. That way the 2X girl knows she needs to buy the extra large and it doesn't sit there. You're only going to buy anything that runs big or anything that runs small. So those easy tees we heard ran big. So I may have typically skipped the double extra small, but I bought the double extra small because that's technically an extra small. So yeah, you want to buy also for the fit of it also. So like jeggings, you know, there's not going to be many customers shopping for double extra small jeggings. It's already a small profile.
Do you guys see what I did here? You see that? On the Oakley, if you guys go to my site, granted now my site is updated with my photos because my group just likes to see me in photos or in clothes. But I did previously have on all my Oakley pictures, I saved the picture and I went and I put size down on it. I should be doing this. And now that I think about it, I'm going to start, it's on my to-do list, to go back and put size down. Because those people, those 2X and 3X that would buy that dress, but it's not in their size, but it is, they just don't know it. And that'll actually create trust with your customers too. Like my customers now know if I want to know what it looks like in real life and not a stock photo, they know to come to my site and hopefully they'll buy it with me. So if they know, like I know that I can get the best sizing help with Tiffany, I'm going to go to Tiffany's site, and that's probably where I'm going to end up buying too. So that'll create trust. But yeah, that's a good idea, just to put size down.
I'm sorry, Shelby. I'm just going to, about the Oakleys. I did not start stocking 2X and 3X Oakleys until really recently. And I actually do sell both sizes in Oakleys, but it wasn't until really recently. So for anyone that's new, no, I would not get the larger sizes. But like I said, for some reason I have an influx of curvy ladies in my group. So, and they are selling, and especially the ladies that are really full busted, they like that larger, the 3X in that. So anyway, yes, go ahead. Sorry, Shelby.
That's okay. No, I was just going to answer that question because Catherine was saying that she's worried she's spending too much on inventory. I think that you're only spending too much on inventory if you're not selling it. If you're selling it, then keep spending on inventory because then you're going to make more.
Yeah, there's a couple things with buying inventory. You'll never get coaching in Rockstars that tells you that If you're not selling, you need to buy. But there's a couple things with that. You can't sell something you do not have. So if you don't have inventory, people can't buy anything from you. So a lot of times it's what do you have? And if you're not going to carry a larger selection of inventory, it's so much more important to be really careful about what you're choosing. You'll hear people, especially in different companies, talk about how, oh, I'm selling $10,000, $15,000 a month. Okay, but you have 4,000 pieces of inventory. That's a crappy turn of inventory right there. You're doing really poorly, really poorly. When I was just starting and I had 200 or 300 pieces, selling $10,000 or $15,000 with 200 or 300 pieces, that's a feat. That is a massive turn of inventory. I was basically turning my inventory over 2 times every month. That's insane. That's crazy. And the only reason why I was able to do it is because I was very careful with my purchases, what I purchased. I was purchasing what I could sell immediately, what could leave the house right away. Now, my initial inventory, and everyone on this phone call for the most part has an initial inventory box. It's a bunch of onesie stuff. Hard to sell like that. That's why your purchases at this point are really important, because you need to move that stuff out with other pieces that you have. Those initial inventory pieces that you have that are onesies, those will go out slowly one at a time. It's your launch orders that you should be able to flip those launch orders, sell them basically the same day. The next day they have come in. Now you have double that money that you spent on launch, and you have some money to work with to purchase some more inventory. If you are selling, or you are always selling out, from time to time we get somebody that says, I just can't keep any inventory. I literally have 40 pieces of inventory. That person has a problem not buying enough inventory. They don't have a sales problem. If you have spent $10,000 in inventory, but you're not selling anything, you have a sales problem, not an inventory problem. So before we talk about how much to spend on inventory, or if you spent too much, or if you haven't spent enough, what we need to decide first is whether or not you're selling. If you're selling and you can't keep inventory in stock, then you need to be buying more. If you're buying, and you're not selling, now we have a sales problem. So determine which problem we have, and then we can fix it.
Okay. I was working while I was listening. Let's blah, 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 blah. Mariah, there's no cheat sheet. It's just kind of what you hear and know based on like asking questions and seeing in the groups. If you go to my website, actually, shopallthethings.com, if you go to the size thing, I pretty much have a really, for what I carry, like everything is true to size. These you can size down in, these you size up in. So if you are wondering what runs big and what runs small, you can actually go there, and I do have that in there. So that's probably the closest cheat sheet you'll find, but yes, okay. All right, well, I'm gonna hop off, and hopefully this recorded, because I'm a Zoom idiot. I don't know. But all right, well, thank you, ladies, for hopping on, and enjoy your Saturday. Thanks, Lauren and Shelby.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.